welcome to today's training. My name is Jennifer Hootie. I'm going to be your guest trainer today. And today's theme is going to be all around your marketing message. How do you really stand out in a noisy marketplace and get the right people to take action? And how I know Chirag is we've been working together for almost 3 years, where Chirag hired my team and myself to help him and his team really refine their marketing message, their marketing strategies. I'll tell a little bit more about my story here in a moment. But I've gotten to witness the phenomenal growth at Chirag Shah Coaching over the last few years. And a lot of what I'm going to be sharing with you today is direct processes and strategies that I've gone through and used with Chirag and his team. So just out of curiosity here, with a show of hands if you're on video, or you can also just comment in the chat box, who here struggles to communicate your marketing message in a way that you feel really stands out? So whether that's through social media or email or on your website, all of the different mediums. And you can even comment in the chat box if this is you. Yes, me, where you just feel like how my message is either too generic. I don't know how to position myself to stand out to my ideal clients in a way that really gets them to take action. I don't know how to get attention. I don't know how to keep attention. I don't want to do those silly TikTok videos that point to different things to get clients. I just want to, show people homes and help them find their dream home. I don't want to, pretend to be a dancing bear online to get clients. Who here can resonate with this at all? Yeah. And I want you to know that you are not alone. And we are in an era right now where, with many business owners, real estate agents, entrepreneurs, if you have a business where you're wanting to get in front of your ideal clients, the landscape has changed so much over the last several years when it comes to marketing. And more, it has become a challenge to really get and keep people's attention. And so over the course of today, I'm going to be sharing with you how to really craft a message that stands out and inspires the right people to take action. That is what today is going to be all about. Does that sound good? Awesome. So just give me one moment here as I set up my slides. All right. I have about 3 screens going here, so I'm like an air traffic controller when it comes to my Zoom room. And then let me make sure that I am on Spotlight. All right, here we go. So we're going to get started here today. Here's the deal. There is 60 billion pieces of content uploaded to the internet every single day. There are 4 million hours of content uploaded to YouTube every day. There are 3.5 billion Google searches conducted worldwide every minute of every day. And so with the overload of content being at everyone's fingertips, the big question for real estate agents then becomes, how do you communicate your message in that clear and concise way to really get the right people to take action from it? How do you get in front of the right buyers, the right sellers, and how do you communicate to them in a way where they feel like they can really trust you, that you are the perfect person to help them. So in this training, this is for you if you want to build your audience of the right fit buyers and sellers so that when they need help, you're top of mind. Also, to have people read your stuff online and feel actually excited about how they can work with you versus feeling like they're being convinced and sold to. And especially for agents, how do you get back more of your time? By dialing in your marketing engine so that the qualified leads that are coming into your business aren't solely focused on your relationships alone. Who here feels like you feel a lot of pressure to consistently perform because so many of your qualified leads are coming from your own relationships, reaching out to people, texting people, referrals, keeping top of mind, etc. Yeah, so how do we do this in a scalable way? That's ultimately what marketing is. It's canning and cloning your sales process and making sure that it is leveraged so that people know that you are the one that can really help them. So before we dive into the content of today, I want to share with you just a little bit about my background and why I'm here as your trainer today. And so back about 8 years ago, no, even longer, about 10 years ago, I was starting one of my first online businesses, and I had an online program that I was wanting to sell. And I took this piece of advice that I had read from several business books, even my college professors, which was, if you build it, they will come. And I learned really fast that if you build it, it is not guaranteed that people will come. Not even close. And so in my first launch of my program that I ever had, my intention was to sell 30 spots into this online program. And after everything was all said and done, I ended up selling 3. And it was in that moment that I knew that I needed to figure out another way, that simply building a really strong program, and you can insert a strong service, wasn't enough for me to actually get in front of the people I wanted to get in front of. And so I ended up stumbling upon a podcast where there was 2 of the hosts, and they were talking about this concept called direct response marketing. And within that, they said, so much of marketing in the world is about branding, and it's simply about telling people how great you are and how awesome you are. But direct response marketing really shifts the way that you get in front of your audience, because you really are focusing on solving a problem for them. And they said, if you want to get good at direct response marketing, you need to learn how to master a concept called copywriting. And I honestly, up until that point, thought that copywriting was something either, like a photocopy machine that you had in your office, or a copyright, like the legal entity. I didn't know that it was this idea in marketing, which was essentially written words that sell. That is really what copywriting is in marketing. And so I made it my mission, even though I was dyslexic and didn't know how to write. I'm like, if copywriting is going to help me sell more of my programs, I am going to figure it out. And so I devoured different courses, trainings, workshops, everything I can get my hands on to really learn the art and the science of how to communicate a message so clearly that inspires your ideal client to take action. And so with that, I ended up utilizing it in my online business and began to see it grow and grow. It went from a startup to generating hundreds of thousands of dollars just as a little side hustle to begin with. And then I started to have different people in my industry reaching out to me and saying, hey, are you open to helping us with this copywriting thing? Are you open to helping us craft our messages when it comes to our online marketing. And that was back in 2015 when I started a company called Conscious Copy & Co. And fast forward, that company, Conscious Copy, ended up becoming the largest copywriting agency in the online business space, especially in personal development and business. Some of our clients included people like Dave Asprey and Bulletproof Coffee, Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach, Brendan Bouchard, Tony Robbins, many, many others. Really the who's who in the online business space. And over those 7+ years, I went around and spoke all over the world on different stages, including TEDx, Traffic and Conversion, which is the largest marketing conference in the world, Genius Network annual event, many, many others, around the idea of how do you craft a message that inspires people to take action. And so actually, this is a very rare occasion for me now to do a training around copywriting, but because Chirag is a client and a dear friend, I said I would make an exception because as of last year, I really stepped into building my new company, which is called Vision Driven. But with Conscious Copy, we built the top copywriting and messaging company in the online business space. We helped our clients generate over $250 million from our marketing campaigns. And then I have a company now that I am solely focused on called Vision Driven, where we help companies with a concept called the Vivid Vision process. We've helped over 500 companies one-on-one through the process, and it's ultimately helping them get clear of their vision for the future, and then how are they communicating that to inspire and motivate their teams. And the crescendo moment of my copywriting career, I would say, was helping Tony Robbins launch his latest book called Life Force, and helped write the book cover copy, all of the words that really sold the book. And it ended up hitting pretty much all of the bestseller lists, including New York Times, Wall Street Journal, et cetera, et cetera. So I've helped thousands of agents, business owners, entrepreneurs in all different industries to unpack how they can make their message unique and how to really get it in front of the right people. And so that's what we're really going to be focusing on today. Does that sound good? Awesome. So here is what I found to be one of the most simple models when it comes to marketing. Everyone makes marketing and messaging and copywriting so complex. And my mission when I was really deep into the trenches of this world was how to simplify it. Because at the end of the day, it is human psychology. It is implementing the modalities around human psychology into a strategy. And so every good marketing strategy has 4 main elements. The first one is your audience or your ideal client. And this is, who is it that you're trying to serve? And this is not everybody. If you're trying to attract everybody, you're going to attract nobody. And this is not saying wealthy people or people in this, this little area of my city. You really want to think about your ideal client as what is the need that that particular person has that you can solve, even in real estate. And we're going to dive into this much deeper in today's training. And I'm going to show you how to begin to unpack this. This is such a core piece that even whether it's a company that's just getting started or companies that I've worked with that are doing 8-9 figures in revenue per year, oftentimes there's a misalignment in this area that is keeping them stuck. And then the second piece is your core message. And your core message, I say, is really 5 main questions that you're answering. It's who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? How do you help them? And why are you different? So the main areas, especially in your core message, why are you different? Who are you? But in the way that your ideal client really cares. Is this making sense so far? Give me a head nod if so. Awesome. Great. And then next up is your offer, right? So your offer is what it is that you're selling. And in the cases, if you're helping to sell a home, it's not just the home itself, it's how you're packaging the communication around selling the home. So not only the different features, but what are the benefits of those features? So this is such an important piece, and we'll dive even deeper into this in a little bit. And then the glue to all of this, of how I view it, is the copy. The copy is simply, like I mentioned, written words that sell. And it is what communicates these 3 other elements so that they all play together. And when you have these 4 really dialed in, then you're able to communicate what you do and how you do it to the right person with the right offer at the right time. And you can really get people to take action. Another different way to view this is your message. So imagine your core message is that who you are, who you help, how you help them, why you're different, why you do what you do. And then your copy is the written words that expands upon that message. So you have copy, say if you're running paid ads, maybe you're doing videos, maybe you're doing organic social media, your website, your sales pages, your emails, all of the written words on those different mechanisms either are attracting or they're repelling. I had a mentor once tell me copy is time management marketing, because it's kind of like thousands of little salespeople running around the internet selling for you, but they don't call in sick and they don't ask for a raise. They just do their job, which is sell, if they're set up to convert. But if your copy is vague, if it's unclear, if it's confusing, if it's overwhelming, if it's all over the place, if it's generic, then it's like little salespeople, but they're actually repelling your ideal clients away from you. Give me a head nod if you're still following along. So one of the best, most efficient and effective things that you can do in your business, if you want to save time, but also make more money, is to really dial in your marketing message, and doing that through your copy. And I view content and copy as different. Who here has been hearing a ton about the importance of creating content for social media, those TikTok videos or the Instagram posts or all of the things? So I view it as oftentimes the goal of content is for people to understand you. But the goal of copy is for people to feel understood. Let me say that again. The goal of content is for people to understand you. The goal of copy is for people to feel understood. So it's a kind of different hat that you're wearing. Both of them work hand in hand together, and they're both very key. But another way to view it is it's kind of like someone can be a great communicator, but not a great salesperson. But someone who's a great salesperson is usually a great communicator. So content, you could be great at communicating. People get it. They're like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But copy is approaching things from getting an emotional response from someone. And 95% of our decisions as humans are made with our subconscious mind, which is the emotional part of our brain. So if you don't know how to communicate in a way that gets people to feel certain emotions and inspire them to take action from that place, then you may get a lot of people that say, I love your posts, I love your emails, I read every one, but they don't do anything further. Anyone have that happen? Yeah, and it's so frustrating. And so that's a good sign that you probably are clear in your communication, but you're not meeting your ideal client where they're at and what matters to them. So this is going to be kind of a two-part series because I'm going to be coming on as a follow-up on another training. So for today's focus, we are going to dive into the ideal client snapshot, which is how to identify and communicate to the ideal client. And then also your core message, how the 3 layers to position yourself to stand out. Because these two I view as the fundamentals that if you get these right, then you're going to, the other elements that I share with you, which is going to be, how do you begin to create education-based marketing? How do you create, what's a step-by-step of creating content that actually inspires people to take action, the buyers and sellers that you want? I've just found that if I jump right into those processes and I show you how to do that without these 2 elements, then it's not going to be as effective because you'll maybe follow the process, but if you don't know how to actually communicate to them, you're missing the core piece. Does that make sense? So the first step is on the ideal client snapshot. One of my favorite quotes of all time is by Robert Collier, where she says, enter the conversation going on in your prospect's mind. This is the secret sauce to all of your marketing. This is the fundamental of it. So what it is we're going to begin to unpack who your ideal client is and how to communicate to their hot buttons of what really matters to them. And the way that I view this is this model is something that I learned from Eugene Schwartz in the book Breakthrough Advertising. It's kind of like the Bible of marketing, not just digital marketing. Very key concepts that are tried and true no matter what time we're in. And when it comes to your ideal client, I want you to think about who it is that you really love serving. And the best place to look at who it's the people who you love working with, you get paid really well, they're easy to work with, oftentimes they're referring other people like them to you. And my guess is each one of you can think of a couple of people at least where you're like, gosh, if every client was like so-and-so, my life would be so easy. Yeah. So take a moment and just write down the name or 2 of clients that you wish that if you could duplicate and have hundreds of that client, you would be set. Okay. So just take a moment to do that. Write down their name. I'm not going to ask you for their name, but this is for you and going through the process. So once you've done this, go ahead and comment in the chat. Let me know. Done. Okay, perfect. Did it. Okay, so for the rest of this process that I'm going to take you through, I want you to keep this person in mind. And it's going to be so tempting to think about other people, but we just want to hone in on this specific person. If you could duplicate them. So when it comes to your ideal client, there are 4 different levels of awareness that they may be coming in with: unaware, aware, seeking, and motivated. So the first one, unaware, is they're unaware that they have a problem, and they're unaware that there's a solution to their problem. And we don't really want to pour too much of our time and our attention here, because if they're unaware that they have a problem, then they're likely not, the part of their brain called their reticular activating system, or the RAS. There's a part of our brain that signals if something's important or not. So if they're unaware that they have a problem, they're not really looking or seeking or trying to solve for it. Make sense? And then there's the aware, which means they are aware that they have a problem, but they're unaware that there's a solution. So the example sometimes I'll share is, say someone is, and this is just a silly random example, but say someone is back down here unaware. They're really dehydrated, but because they're so dehydrated, they don't even know that they should go looking for something like a water or a vitamin IV or something to hydrate them. Aware would be they're aware that they're thirsty, and that they're dehydrated, but they're unaware of what the solution is. The next one is they're seeking. So they're aware that they have a problem, and they're beginning to actively seek a solution. So they're thirsty and they're starting to look at, okay, or maybe they're, let's say, dehydrated. And so they're like, okay, should I be drinking juice? Should I be drinking water? Should I be getting a vitamin IV? Should I be taking certain minerals or nutrients? Like, how do I solve for this? And then motivated is they're aware there is a problem. They're aware that there's a solution. They're aware of the type of solution that they're looking for, and they're actively they're seeking, but they're motivated to make a decision around it ASAP. So maybe it's someone and they are, their kids just left the house. They have this huge home. They want to downsize, and they're actively looking for a smaller home in a particular area so that they can downsize. And they're really looking for, okay, who is the person that's going to help me find this home? That would be someone who's motivated. So with the motivated, about 4% of the market at any given time is in this motivated area. They're obviously the best clients. These are the people who maybe you get referred and they're like, I'm ready to go, let's go. We love these types of clients. And where we want to continue to double down on these, but where there's an opportunity in your marketing and your message is to start building a relationship with the people who are either aware or seeking. In the example that I just gave, maybe it's the couple who, okay, they're aware, meaning in the example I just gave, their kids are in their final 2 years of high school, and they're starting to be in that conversation of like, gosh, we really don't need this whole big home to ourselves, and maybe it's time for us to start looking for a new home. But they're not really sure of exactly, they're just like in that ideation phase or that incubation stage. Where do we want to live? Where would we like to go? What really matters to us, etc. And so if you're starting in your marketing, say for social media or your website, starting to build a relationship with this kind of person, and you're speaking to their pain points and you're educating them, then you're starting to build that relationship. So once they get to the point of motivated, you're already the person who they want to work with because you've built that trust and rapport. Y'all still following along with me? Awesome. So it's important to think about this because so often in the marketing, if you're just approaching it with, hey, are you looking to buy your home or buy a home? Hey, are you looking to sell a home? Yes, that's talking to that 4%, but then you're missing out on about 80% of other people who are getting ready. You know, they're in that, like, they're coming up on the year or two of getting ready to make a decision. Let me see if I can, give me one moment, if I can erase this. Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. All right. So when it comes to your ideal client, there's 3 elements that you want to really hone in on: the demographics, the psychographics, and the values. Oftentimes, when I've worked with agents in the past, they're just focused on the demographics. They're like, okay, what's the gender, the age, the class, the location, their career, their yearly income, their hobbies. It's like, where do they live? They're wealthy, etc. And that's okay. But really, if for the agents that have this process really dialed in, that they know exactly how to communicate, they're focusing more on the psychographics, which is these 3 main questions. The first main question is, where is my ideal client at right now in their current situation? And really painting the picture of that. The example I just gave, they're, you know, a dual income couple that has 2 to 3 kids. They and they're looking to downsize, or maybe it's the couple who is growing a family in this particular area and they're looking to get a larger home. And here are the types of things that really matter to them. They want to be in a neighborhood that has a really great school system that's really safe. Safety is such a high priority for them because they want to be raising their family there. They want to make sure that it's a home that they can continue to grow into. And you can answer it, so like some of those different questions of the current situation. And then you answer, where is it that they want to go? What is those desires or destinations that they have, or the desire or destination that they want to get to in their decision, whether they're buying or they're selling. Really painting the picture of what is it that they really, really want, what matters to them. And this isn't what you think matters to them, it's what you're hearing your clients directly say about what matters to them in their language. And that's something you actually want to write down, circle, and star, is what are my ideal clients saying in their language around where they're currently at and where it is that they want to go. And then finally, what is stopping them from getting there? What are their different fears around making this decision in their language? And the more that you can, I highly recommend that you at least put down 3 to 5 bullet points in each one of these areas. And then this is going to be complete gold for you when it comes to your marketing, because then you're literally repeating back to them what it is that they're saying that they want. For example, different industry, but in the the company that I run now, Vision Driven, and how we help entrepreneurs in clarifying and communicating their vision for the future of their company and where they want to go. In my team and I having thousands of conversations with these entrepreneurs, we actually realized that about 80% of them say the exact same words when describing their pain point and what it is that they want. The exact words. And we're like, great, there's our messaging. This is not a trick problem that you need to solve. It's literally finding what are the things that you're hearing over and over again from your clients, and then packaging it up and then serving it to them and saying, is this what you want? And they're like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. So it's not complicated, but you need to be aware of what are they actually saying. So what are the conversations that are going on in their mind around why they haven't gotten what they want yet, or why they're struggling with making the decision, or where it's clunky in the process, and you speak directly to those in your messaging. Is this making sense so far? Awesome. Okay. And you want to paint the picture. So in your messaging, and even when it comes to your ideal client, you want to describe things in pictures plus emotions. Pictures plus emotions equals stories. So as I mentioned, 95% of purchasing decisions are made from our subconscious mind. And so the more that you can tell stories of your ideal clients or the pain points, the more people are going to be able to resonate with you. And then the third step around the ideal client is really dissecting what are the top 3 values that they have, that you both have, that are a values alignment. So for example, last year I came and spoke to Chirag's mastermind, and there was an agent, brilliant agent, and she specialized in helping really some of the top tech, what do you call them? Yeah, I guess like tech executives in Silicon Valley find their homes. And that was her niche. That was her ideal client. And she used to be a tech exec in Silicon Valley. So she really understood their brain. She was like, this is the type of person, they make analytical decisions. They want the numbers, they want the data. They want things clearly mapped out, and they're very analytical in their decisions. And so one of their the aligned values is analytical. She's very analytical. And so she knew how to speak to a lot of the things that were going on in their mind when they were making a decision. This is really important too, because if your ideal client is, say, an investor, what drives them and motivates them to buy or sell homes is going to be very different than the family that's looking to upsize or downsize. And you're going to communicate to them very differently. Your marketing is going to look very differently. Does that make sense? So it's so important to understand, okay, what are the values? And yeah, that could be analytical, that it could be data driven. It could be, if it's a new family, safety is one of the values that really matters to them as they're looking at their home, but knowing what those are so you can constantly speak into them. Because people, whether they're aware of it or not, are constantly making decisions based on what they value. Oftentimes, though, they're not going to explicitly say that. So now I want you to take a moment to actually workshop on this. So you already wrote down step 1 of a person that you work with that you would love to replicate. And now just take a moment to write out, what are the demographics of this person? So do they have a type of career? Are they male? Are they female? Or do they have a type of location of where they live? And just bullet points. This isn't a trick question. actually just think about that ideal client that you wrote down. Okay, what are the demographics that this person falls into? And just write it down. And then from there, write down what was the pain point that they came to solve in their language? What did they actually, when they called you up or they got that introduction, what did they say that they were looking for specifically? Or what was their challenge? And then what was it that they were looking for? So their desired outcome. What was their biggest fear or concern in the decision? Was there any objections along the way? And then what were the things that they valued most in making the decision? So just go bullet points here, but take a moment to just write this out while it's fresh. So again, you're just answering these questions on the slide. Robert, with top 3 values, these are things that your ideal client values most around both their decision in this area, but even who they work with. So the example that I gave is the Silicon Valley exec, the agent who also understood that one of her clients' highest values is being analytical in their decision making. And so the way that she approaches her marketing is very different than an agent who's targeting maybe a suburban family in Idaho. So what are the values that matter most to your client? All right. Give me a thumbs up if you have something down for some of these areas. Okay, great. Who here believes that you've been communicating, or who sees that there's been a gap in how you've been communicating in your marketing compared to what is revealed here already, where you're seeing that maybe you weren't directly communicating to these pain points or these desires? Yes. Some yes. Okay. Awesome. So the biggest thing here, as I mentioned, is once you get the answers to these questions really dialed in, you're going to notice that the 80-20 rule comes into play, that 80% of your ideal clients are saying the same things when it comes to where they're at, where they want to go, what's standing in the way. And the more that you're communicating in your marketing, so again, that's your website, your social media, your emails, etc., literally in addressing in their language what it is that they're saying and starting to answer the questions that come up for them, the more they're going to feel understood, the more they're going to likely take action from it. So based on timing today, I know I mentioned that we would dive into the core message. I don't think we're going to have the time to really dive into that today in the way that I want to make sure that I don't skip anything or minimize it. So we will absolutely dive into the core message next time, which is going to build upon this. But before we wrap up, I want to just open it up for questions on phase 1 of this, the ideal client snapshot. What are the questions that you have coming up around this process? And you can just even just type question in the comments, and then I'll call on your name, and then you'll be able to unmute yourself. Any questions? Y'all are clear? Oh, awesome. Brad. Go ahead.
Jennifer, thanks. This has been very helpful. This is maybe not such a question as much as just what I'm pondering, taking all of this in. There's kind of a disconnect, at least for me, which is what it is we do and how it is we provide value as real estate agents, and how we communicate that. And I feel like, what the actions that we do in our profession communicate that, but bridging that gap between understanding personally what it is we do and getting it out there as copy or content is a real, for me, it's a bridge with, crumbling infrastructure, and I just can't see the other side of it. So anyways, as I said, it's not really a question, but just kind of a pondering along these lines. I think ultimately I just need assistance in developing that bridge and getting there.
Mm-hmm. Great question. So great insight. So what I'm hearing in that, Brad, is that where you're noticing yourself stuck is communicating the value of the process to the ideal clients when it comes to what it is that you do. So they actually understand all of the elements that go into how you help them. Was that?
Yeah. I think going through these exercises is very helpful because it forces me to really kind of get my hands around it. But I guess what I'm just really expressing is I feel really insecure in getting to this other side of it, into really conveying this in copy, in content.
Yeah. You're not alone. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
You're not alone, and it's a very normal feeling. This process at first can feel kind of foreign because it's just like new to you're so engulfed into your own experience, your own process, and then sometimes you kind of feel like a fish swimming in water. And so then when you're asked, okay, explain your process, it's like, gosh, okay, where do I begin? So I want to go back to this model that I shared, which is these 4 areas. So today we really dove into audience ideal client. The reason I always start here is because I think this is the area that most business owners, real estate agents miss. They don't put as much of an emphasis on this. They put more of an emphasis on their core message. What do I say to make myself stand out and sound awesome? But then it's more content. It's just getting people to understand you versus really communicating to their pain points. And then the offer, which is your process, that's where we go deep into, okay, how do you educate the ideal client on your process of how you deliver the value in a way that really matters to them? And that's that third piece. So all of this is part of the recipe. And oftentimes you can even go to 2 out of 3 of these and still be pretty good. But when you have all of them locked in, then you're just far more effective. So I'd say just like stick with me on this journey, because a lot of the rest of it will reveal itself.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me see here. Carol, question. I can do this for past clients, but wondering how I can apply this to marketing messages in a geographical form. Our marketing center pieces do not have a call to action other than call me. Can you elaborate on this a little bit further? Carol, if you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay. I've been in business now for 34 years. And when I'm thinking of my past clients, quite honestly, a lot of them fit the same profile. And I mean, I've been really blessed with amazing past clients. But a partner and I have taken on a geographical farm. It's a lot of more older people. I mean, the QR code thing and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some people don't even have email. And so we've been sending out a lot of pieces from our marketing center, but it's always kind of the same message. It's like, call me for evaluation of your home, or call me for this, or call me for that. And I'm like going, I want to do this for my farm. I want to figure out what these people's pain points are, or what is it that they're looking for, or what kind of information do they really want, that I can start structuring my marketing efforts that I'm sending out in that way. I mean, you know, other than talking about concierge or giving them quarterly market updates, or, you know, saying, I'll, you know, want to know what your home's worth or whatever. I mean, I'm like, I need some new content desperately.
Yeah. So based on the efforts that you've done so far, have you gotten anyone to reach out and call you?
Yeah, we have. And we do walk the neighborhood as well, which is kind of nice. I mean, when I do walk the neighborhood, sometimes we put marketing pieces rather than just mailing them all the time. We go and walk the neighborhood. And a lot of times that's where I get leads. And like this last Thanksgiving, we actually offered pies to the entire neighborhood for Thanksgiving. And that was an amazing hit. We were able to capture a lot of email addresses that way, because we were like, email us to, you know, reserve what we gave them a choice of pies that they could order. And so, and then some people did call and say, well, I don't even have an email or whatever, you know.
Like that's, so, how about that pie? The pie strategy, I love it.
Yeah, and like during COVID, for Halloween, we gave out Halloween masks and little pumpkins and a little bag of candies. We took that to everybody's door and stuff like that. So some of those things were pretty successful.
Yeah.
But the postcards that we want to get something out every single month are just kind of getting a little stale for us.
So I would then begin to look at, Carol, with the people who have reached out to you, given you a call, but then also said, hey, yeah, I want to sell my house, or whatever the specific call to action is. Based on those conversations, that's where all of this information comes up, and you're going to learn through the conversation with them once they do call, okay, what are their pain points? What is it that they really want? What are their fears around this? You collect exactly what they say word for word in those conversations. Just simply write it down. And then you'll know, okay, let's just test a postcard based on this pain point. Hey, are you, or like, what's an example of one of someone who called you and said that they wanted to work with you? Why did they do that? Or what was going on in their world that they wanted to work together?
Well, actually, on the listings that we have gotten, it's been people that have moved out of the area. So one was a family that they had to put their mother in assisted living, and so they moved to Southern California because the place that they found down there was a lot more reasonable than in Marin County, California. So, and then the other people, her husband was ill with COPD and was not doing that great. And they moved down to San Diego area to be close to their children and grandchildren. And then the same thing with the other couple, they actually moved out of the area to get closer to their kids. Their kids were scattered on, you know, the peninsula or the East Bay, and they just kind of, and grandkids. And like I said, they're getting older and they kind of wanted to get closer to family.
Yeah. So even, for example, in knowing that, it's like, okay, they're considering a move. Some of the the pieces could even be around, you know, the 5 questions to ask yourself if you're looking to make a move in the next 60 to 90 days. or a checklist. Here's a preparing to move check, or call us for, or yeah, here's the prepared to move checklist that you're going to need if you're considering moving in the next 60 to 90 days. You know, those sorts of things where it's what is something that would be useful to them based on the current state of mind that they're in. What are the questions that they're asking themselves before making this decision that you can help answer? Because as a result, then you're going to build rapport and trust with them by providing that up front. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that actually, it makes a lot of sense. And I mean, what I'm saying too is part of my frustration is that the turnover in this particular farm is great. We're not getting as many listings as we should be getting. Let's put it that way. So we got to regroup on this for sure. You know, so
yeah, and it also sounds,
my partner lives in that farm too. So that's the other part of it.
Yeah,
so,
and I think the opportunity is looking at what are the things that what I heard in all of your examples is that a lot of times people are moving for family. So it's like they value family. That is very important to them. So how in your communications or the things that you are doing, do you acknowledge that that's important to them and show them that that's also important to you? Because again, that's going to build trust and rapport through your marketing. So those are some things just to think about here. And yeah, there's not like a one size fits all for this, but I think that will give you a good start of how to.
Thank you. And sorry guys, I didn't mean to like take away, but I don't know if I think for any of your situations, this might help, whether it's farming or just with anything that you're doing with marketing. Hopefully this little funnel exercise we did right now is going to help you too. I didn't mean to like take up other people's time though.
No, you're good. I think what you shared is really relevant for a lot of people because yeah, especially being an agent too, if you're sending a lot of material out to a larger, like a geo farm, this is something that's going to come up. So super relevant. Awesome. Okay. Well, between now, here is your action step for today. Number 1 is in the conversations that you're having with your ideal clients, I want you to start documenting what the exact language that they're using when it comes to their current pain points. So what are they saying is their current pain points and challenges? Where is it that they want to go, that desire or destination? And then what are some of their fears and concerns? And then how can you already, we're going to build upon this in next sections, but how can you start to communicate directly to those by showing them that you understand them and their world? That is step 1. And then make sure to join me for the next training where we'll continue to unpack this further and dive into your core message. Okay? So thank you so much for joining me today. Now we went a little bit later, but I hope this was of value to you, and we will connect next time. When is the next session? Great question. Let me just confirm. I believe the next one that I am leading is in March. Let me just confirm. I'm gonna pull this up. It is, I'm pulling it up right here if you're still with me. 4/4/2023 is the next one that I will be leading at 2 p.m. EST. All right. So you can get in a lot of reps between now and then of beginning to practice this. Okay. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thanks for joining me.